Erik Halterman of RotoWire here with 1 buy low and 3 sell highs for you this week. Now, I expect some of these names to be pretty controversial, so get your angry comments ready because I'm about to tell you to buy low on Juan Soto. Now, I do regret ranking him quite as high as 8th in the preseason, and based on his results of the first 2 months, I bet whoever drafted him in your league is feeling similarly. It was always going to be a bit of an adjustment period after signing a huge deal with a new team, and Citi Field is a tough place to hit. But even despite Juan Soto's slow start, I don't think I move him down more than maybe 5 or 6 spots if I could redo my preseason rankings. There just aren't a lot of actual red flags in his stat line right now. Soto's hitting .233, but he has an expected batting average of .297. That makes him the 6th biggest underperformer among qualified hitters. He's slugging just .409, but his expected slug is .576. That's the 2nd biggest underperformer behind only Salvador Perez. And by the way, go buy low on him too if you can, I'd say. Soto's 17% strikeout rate matches his career number. So does his 14% barrel rate, and his 55% hard hit rate is actually slightly better than his career mark. So I would try to buy Juan Soto now while the vibes are bad and while his line still looks worse than he deserves. This guy is a 26-year-old superstar. He did not suddenly break, and there's nothing in his underlying numbers to suggest that he did. Now let's move to some sell highs, and a word of warning, I like all of these guys, and I'm not desperate to trade any of them, but all of them look like they're at the peak of their value right now. So if you have, say, too many guys at their position or categorical needs elsewhere, this is the time to act, starting with Zach Neto, who had average power and average contact last year, led to a .249 average with 23 homers. That's a decent season that looks a lot better when you add in his 30 steals. Neto missed the start of this season recovering from shoulder surgery, but he's hit .283 since returning in mid-April and has been on better than a 30-30 pace. That's very encouraging to see from a 24-year-old, but you can probably catch someone in your league who overvalues him based on this 6-week sample. Neto has made big strides in his power this year. His barrel rate has more than doubled from 8 to 18%. His hard hit rate has jumped from 39% to 51%. But notably, no gains in his max exit velocity. So did Neto actually get much stronger, or is he just running a bit hot right now? Also, those power gains have come with a loss of contact. His strikeout rate has shot up from 23% to 28%. Now, to be clear, a 28% strikeout rate isn't going to be a problem for Neto in an 18% barrel rate, but count me skeptical for now that he has quite that much power. When I see a guy trade contact for power like this, I'm definitely intrigued, but I also want to wait and see what happens when the power spike cools off while the reduced contact remains. For a notable example of that just this year, look at Corbin Carroll. He made a pretty similar trade, trading some contact in for a lot of power, and he exploded to a 980 OPS in April, but Carroll then fell off to a 765 OPS in May. I wouldn't be surprised if we see something similar with Neto. Now, I wouldn't sell again unless I got quite a good offer, but I think now is the time where you could get an overpay for Zach Neto. I've got 2 more names for you in a minute, but first I want to remind you about RotoWire's new promo code. Use code YouTube15, where you can check out all our articles and tools. That's YouTube15, and I believe there's even a link down in the description to make things super easy for you. Back to the names, we've got Logan O'Hoppe, another Angel, and one who's having a similar season to Zach Neto in a lot of ways. Another guy trading some contact for power. O'Hoppe is 2nd among catchers with 14 homers. Cal Raleigh is the only other one in double digits in that category. O'Hoppe has a 20% barrel rate, which is 6th among all qualified hitters, but he's entered dangerous territory in terms of his plate discipline in order to get to that extra power. O'Hoppe already had a 30% strikeout rate and 6% walk rate last year, which is quite bad. This year, a 34% strikeout rate, and that walk rate is all the way down to 4%. Since 2000, only 12 qualified hitters, ignoring the short 2020 season, have finished with a worse strikeout rate than the mark O'Hoppe has right now. And those guys, they worked deep counts and walked an average of 12% of the time. The closest parallel to O'Hoppe's current strikeout and walk numbers is Zach Geloff from last year, when he struggled to a 632 OPS. And even then, Geloff had a 7% walk rate. If you drop the plate appearance threshold to 300, searching for more names with similar strikeout and walk rates, you get Andrew Velazquez, Elehuris Montero, Jorge Alfaro, Matt Davidson. All those guys even walked a little bit too much. You get Mickey Moniak as actually the only guy who beats or loses to, I guess you could say, O'Hoppe's strikeout and walk numbers. Point is, this is not a very good group of contemporaries at all. So there's no real precedent for O'Hoppe's current approach holding up in the long run. So I'd look to move him now while all the attention is on his positives. And finally, let's end today's video with Chandler Simpson. Sell high for at least some of you, but all of you. If you picked up Simpson because you were near the bottom in steals and wanted a one-man solution to the problem, I might keep him. You're probably only inching up towards the middle of the pack at this point, but if you were already in the middle of the pack in steals when you grabbed Simpson, seriously would think about moving him now, not a month from now. Simpson has been exactly as advertised. I really like this player. He's hitting 295 while striking out just 11% of the time. But of course, he also has 0 homers, and not just that, he has 0 barrels. He has a 15% hard hit rate right now, does Chandler Simpson. For comparison, the last time pitchers could bat, they had an 18% hard hit rate. Simpson does have 14 steals since he's been called up, trailing only Luis Robert since his promotion. And if you keep Simpson on your roster all year, the best case scenario is you wind up with some extremely lopsided value, which means there's a real risk you waste a lot of his stolen bases because you lead your league by a lot in that category, while simultaneously playing essentially a man down in the power categories. You basically got a pitcher up there in terms of home runs. That's the best case scenario too. The worst case scenario is Simpson starts to lose playing time as the Rays get healthier, and maybe even he heads back to the minors. For as exciting as he is, Fangraphs has Simpson as a replacement level player so far, and Baseball Reference WAR actually has him as slightly below replacement. Part of that is Simpson's pitcher-like bat, and part of it is that for all his speed, he's not actually a strong defender in the outfield yet. Think Esteury Ruiz. I don't want to put that on him just yet, but there's more Esteury Ruiz than Victor Scott here, I would say. Johnny DeLuca, Jake Mangum, Richie Palacios are all due back soon in the Rays outfield. So if you're in a spot where 6 weeks of Simpson has already been enough to jump you to the top of the steals category, I'd look to move him now before those guys return. That'll do it for today's video, but I know some of the names I picked today are guys that people won't want to trade away. So please tell me in the comments if you think I'm insane.